Don't forget to like and subscribe, and share your opinion down below. Today's story is from the subreddit r/am I the a-hole. Check the description for the links and timestamps. Am I the a-hole for telling my husband I don't want to care for his 2 children so he can see his other child? My husband, 42, and I, 26F, have been married for 4 years, together for 6. I'm an immigrant. I came in the US with a K-1 visa to marry him and never left, of course. He has 3 children, 13M, 11 meters, 9F, from a previous marriage. My relationship with his children was always good. He's really involved in their lives and I respect that. On the other hand, my relationship with the rest of his family is bad. No one agreed with our marriage. They tried their hardest to separate us. Our age gap and the fact I'm foreign don't sit well with them, and they don't want to believe I really love my husband. Well, all their efforts pay off as my husband's oldest son doesn't want to see me anymore, for absolutely no reason. We had a good relationship before, and I don't parent any of them, but out of nowhere he doesn't want to visit if I'm here. Of course, my husband is hurt by this situation. I get that. Fast forward, he decided he would see his oldest at my parents-in-law. I wasn't thrilled about it as I know they will talk crap about me, but at least he could see his son. When he visits his oldest, I have to care for his 2 other children because he has weekends custody, and they don't want to go to their grandparents' house, understandably so. I didn't mind at first, it was just an afternoon every 2 weeks. But last weekend he stayed the full weekends at his parents' house with his oldest. Not only his 2 other children didn't see their dad all weekend long, but he called them for like 10 minutes total, and of course they were sad. When I confronted him about it, telling him it was clearly favoritism and it wasn't fair on the other 2, he denied and said they needed to spend more time together. He then told me to not start a drama about it. I was really calm, so I didn't understand why he was saying that. But then we cut it short and moved on. But come yesterday, he tells that he plans on spending a weekend a month at his parents' house as well as spending an afternoon every other weekend. Okay, fine, but don't expect me to be a nanny all weekend long, I said. And he was like, seriously, you're my wife, you should help me. As a husband you should try to fix the situation so we can all be home together, I said. Now I'm well aware that as a wife and a stepmother, I should be willing to care of his children. And I'm willing to, but not for a full weekend. I don't mind taking care of them for a day. But these kids also need their father too. He was mad and called me selfish. I understand that he wants to spend time with his oldest and I'm all for it, but I don't think he needs to spend the night there. If his oldest get all the father and son time in the world, he will never want the situation to improve and the other 2 will suffer from it as well. Now for some comments. As his wife and stepmother, you should be willing to be a team and partner in parenting. And it clearly sounds like you are being a partner. He is not. You are far more mature than your husband. His neglected kids will see the favoritism. It's obvious. Not the a-hole. And please think long and hard before you have any children of your own with him. So, he has 3 other kids, but ditches 2 of them with you and spends his time with his eldest alone? When he should be with all 3. Yeah, you're not the a-hole here. Sure, there's some level of responsibility to help co-parent your stepchildren. That's what you signed up for when you married into a family with kids. But he should absolutely be there with all his kids. Not just the eldest. If there's tension, he needs to be resolving it, not avoiding it by showing favoritism and leaving you to pick up the pieces. Not the a-hole. You pick up on the favoritism, so the children definitely feel it. Shame on your husband for allowing his oldest child to run the show. His son cannot even come up with a reason why he doesn't want to visit if you are there. I think now he enjoys being an only child and getting all dad's attention for the entire weekend. Since he wants to allow his oldest to run the show, maybe you should stay with a friend for the weekend or a girls' weekend getaway, or get a room for the weekend for yourself. The kids can all visit at the house with dad since you won't be there. Your husband needs to straighten this out before it goes any further. He should have nipped it in the bud the very first weekend. I think the child is being very selfish and your husband is just playing into his hands. He needs to think of his other children. Am I the a-hole for attending a party my friend wasn't invited to? This was a few years ago, so some of the details are fuzzy here, but I'm still ostracized from this friend group over this, so it's been weighing on me. Everyone involved in this story was 19 or 20. I am 19F. Backstory: during our freshman year of college, one of my guy friends, John, had a crush on another girl, Emma, in our friend group. She didn't like him back but didn't communicate that well. She pretty much led him on. She would text him constantly, tell him she liked him, and would come back tipsy from frat parties and make out with him, but then make excuses when he'd try to ask her on a real date. Not that she owed him anything, of course, but John is a good guy and she never gave him the opportunity to move on. This all went on for about a year. And when John found out Emma started seeing someone else, he was pretty heartbroken and basically cut her off. For his own sake. This was a little awkward for me and a lot of our other friends felt forced to take sides. I tried my best to be both of their friends, since I sympathized with both. Emma was just an 18-year-old girl who was mostly just trying to be polite, so didn't express her feelings, or lack thereof, and John was just a broken-hearted kid who hadn't even had a girlfriend before. The story takes place probably a few months after John cut Emma off. I was away for a semester and was coming back for a party one of my other friends was throwing to celebrate both him and John's birthday. I hadn't seen any of these people in a few months, and I was pretty excited. But here's the thing. The whole friend group was invited except Emma. I repeatedly texted John asking him to invite her, explaining I was only there for one night to visit everyone and I wanted her to be there too since I'm all of their friends. John reluctantly agreed and said since I'm only in town the one night, Emma can come too. I was staying with Emma anyway while I was in town. I spent the whole day with her and made margaritas at her apartment before leaving for John's party. I told her that John specifically said she can come with me, and I tried really hard to get her to go. She told me no, she's mad at John, she's gonna sit it out. So, I go to the party. Have a great night, etc. The next day Emma confronts me that she's very hurt that I went to the party she wasn't invited to. She expressed that I should have stayed at home with her. I explained I had tried to get her to come with me and it wasn't just about John, all our other friends were there too, and it was the only night I was around. She accused me of choosing John over her. Basically, this whole event has led to most of the girls from that group agreeing with Emma that I am the a-hole, and I've pretty much not spoken to them since. So, what does Reddit think? Was I the a-hole here? Now for some comments. Not the a-hole. You invited her, she refused. Sounds like you also had other mutual friends there, so why is it okay that they went to the party but not okay that you went? I was her closest friend from those people, so that's why she found it the most hurtful from me, is what she said at the time. And her only other close friend didn't go but because she actually was at a separate event for her sorority. This girl said she left her sorority event early to be with Emma and never showed up at the party. Which made me come off as a terrible friend. And from the group, it's really mostly the two of them that really ostracized me after this. Not the a-hole. If she had an issue, it was on her to communicate that before the party, not afterwards. And even if then, neither of them did anything unforgivable worth cutting off a friendship for. It's like the story of the Judgment of Solomon, where two mothers lay claim on a baby, and one is okay with the proposition of it being cut in half, while the actual caring mother rejects the idea of harming the child. One friend was willing to put his comfort aside for your friendship, the other just wanted to win you, not caring how it affects you. Who is your real friend is fairly obvious. You are the a-hole for inviting Emma to a birthday party she wasn't invited to. It was John's birthday, it should be about him, not about you being able to make all the rounds. Plus, you were staying with Emma anyway, so you still got to hang out with her. She wasn't an a-hole for telling you how she felt, and I don't blame her at all for not going to a party she wasn't invited to. The point is already across that she wasn't welcome there. But you were, and she should have been more understanding that you had friends there, too. Am I the a-hole for blowing up at my ex? My ex broke up with me in January after living together for 7 years. She said she didn't see a future with me and would not elaborate further. We parted on good terms. She wanted to stay friends, but I have told her that I really would need to know more about why she wanted to break up. I try talking with her several times over the last few months and she repeatedly makes plans with me and then blows me off. A week ago, my dad and his wife, L, get COVID. This is a huge concern to me. My dad especially is high risk. My dad's wife, L, is my ex's boss. I got my ex a job with L a few years ago and she is really liking it. Needless to say, my ex and L are in pretty regular contact for work. My dad got moved to the hospital a few days ago because his oxygen level was dropping. As of yesterday, I still haven't heard from my ex, and everything starts to boil over. I'm mad that my dad put himself in a position to get COVID, but I can't say that to him now while he fights for his life in the hospital. And at the same time, I still have all this other baggage from the breakup I am still trying to process, and it just feels like my ex just really doesn't care about any of the distress I am going through. I text my ex this morning asking her when she found out her boss, L, got COVID, and she says she just woke up and she will respond later, but I'm not having it anymore. She admits she found out yesterday, but she heard L only had mild symptoms. It still hasn't occurred to her that if L has it, my dad has it too. I tell her my dad is in the hospital on oxygen. She says she's really sorry to hear that, but at this point my emotions start spilling over. I say, empty words. I said she obviously doesn't give a crap about me if she wouldn't even bother to contact me after finding out L had COVID, and followed up, that I hope whoever she's effing is worth it. She said I was being really cruel to her, that I was just taking my anger out on her and she wasn't going to respond to me anymore today. I'd been tempering this anger patiently for a while with each added excuse she gave over the last 2 months, and with the added stress and anger I have about my dad having COVID, I definitely was taking some of that frustration out on her. I unloaded all my grievances and said, I did everything I could to try and give you a better opportunity. But nothing was enough. You don't see a future with me? What's your future looking like without me? You're on the wrong side of 35 with a high school diploma, no savings, no real plan. So yeah, I hope you do feel bad. You should feel bad. I'd have liked to have been able to talk and go over everything nice. I tried doing that, but you weren't interested. So here is the cold hard truth for you. I feel like my feelings were justified, but she was my best friend for 7 years, and I feel really shitty now. Am I the a-hole? Now for some comments. You are the a-hole. Don't ask a question unless you want to know the answer. You asked, she answered, you didn't like the answer, you kept pushing, she told you to stop, you blew up, you're the a-hole. Also, closure is something you have to give yourself. It's not your ex's job to work through your feelings for you. It's not her job to fill in the why of why you weren't enough for her, why she didn't feel she could build a future with you. Hint, someone who says cruel things like that to her is probably not someone she wants a future with. You have to come to terms with this breakup on your own. You have to manage your feelings on your own, like a grown-up. Insisting she help you and chasing her for closure makes you the a-hole. You are the a-hole. What even did I just read? Your ex broke up with you. Yes, it would be nice to give you an explanation as to why, but she doesn't owe you one. You are also angry with her for not being Sherlock Holmes enough to figure out that if Elle is sick, her husband might be sick and further might be sick in intensive care? I would hazard a guess most people wouldn't think that far into it. She has done nothing wrong, and you have no reason to be angry at her. All of your anger seems to stem from believing she owed you a relationship and secretly hoping she has a terrible life as punishment. You are the a-hole for how you talk to her. The relationship is over. She isn't your person anymore and doesn't have to treat you like she is. She didn't inquire because she doesn't care, and she doesn't have to. But I do disagree with everyone else saying she doesn't owe you an explanation for ending the relationship. You were together for 7 years, living together, and she won't tell you why she broke up with you? That's messed up, and she certainly does owe you that much. You don't just say it isn't working anymore to her so after 7 fucking years. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the story as much as I did. Don't forget to add me on Twitter and check the shirts I post on Teespring if you're interested. Links in the description. Until next time.